And the first thing you have to do with any mold like this is make a wall to separate it. So what I'm doing is I'm sinking these playing cards into the clay. This is the way we do big bronze sculptures, except we do them with we do it with like metal shims, like you use for flashing around your roof. Same deal. Now you can make these walls like a million ways. A lot of people make them out of like foam core, where you just cut out his little head, you put foam core on it, and then you do the closing edge just with clay. Metal shims work really well, especially on big things. Because we're going to do one half, like I'll do the back half first. When that's hard, I'll pull these little pieces of plastic out, and then we'll grease that up, and then we'll do the front half. So what we'll be doing is casting the back of this, if that makes sense. You could also do this wall making with just run water clay all the way around it, you know. So I should have a nice clean line that runs all the way around that. It ain't going nowhere. The clear spray that you put on this, the easier it is to get the clay out of the mold. So you want like a nice plastic coat between your clay, and the stone we're going to put on. We're also going to use a mold release on top of that. So theoretically, when the mold comes off, we just peel the clay out. Otherwise, you have to scrape it out and dig it out, and it's a pain. So that's got 3 nice coats on the back of that. We're going to let that dry up and air out a little bit before we bring it back into the lab, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so we've got the wall made. We used our cards. We made little keys out of little balls of clay. We got it all built. We went ahead and put a couple coats of crystal clear on, which I'm kind of waiting for them to dry up now. And then we're going to hit it with some band release spray, and then we'll start throwing plaster. Can't have enough release. There's no such thing as too much release. Cal 30, plaster, or stone, or cement, all of those terms apply. This is going to be enough to do our, what we call print coat, which is what we're going to put on in order to get all the details of the piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig into this bag and I'm going to fluff this stuff up so that it's not a big solid block from settling. I want this to be nice and free moving. It is a type of plaster. It's a very hard plaster. It's also considered to be a stone or a cement. All of those terms apply. There's a very specific way that we all make this. Everybody I know in the effects biz, we don't really measure this out. So I'm going to start sifting this in a little bit at a time and trying to coat the whole bottom with an even amount. What I'm going for is what's going to end up looking like a dry riverbed. So you want to keep adding plaster till the water can't absorb anymore. And so I'm like looking for little puddles, right? And I'm starting to fill all these little puddles up. All right, so that's going to give me my little islands. And as you can see, that water's going to start soaking in, and it's going to start turning into what looks like a dry riverbed. And that's what we want. We want a dry riverbed. Then there's enough stone with the water to do what we need to do with it. I'm going to let that soak. Until you mix it, it's not going to start kicking off, right? It's not going to start getting hard until you stir it, is what I've read. And I know guys that will walk away from that, come back 15, 20 minutes later and stir it up and it still works. Scary for me, I don't want to do that. And now I'm going to get in and I'm going to stir it. I might add just a little extra water. Yeah, that's a little thicker than I want it to be. I want to stir this up. I want it to be relatively liquid. So I'm going to take a chip brush, and this is my print brush. So what I'm going to try to do is get it in all these little detaily stuff. I'll fill all that stuff first. The trick here is try not to trap any air bubbles. Right? So you want to, that's one of the reasons we want this stuff for this first 2 coats to be pretty runny. I'm going to do this one vertically, and then when we do the front half, I'll want to use some gravity because we've got more detail. So I will lay it down on the back stone piece. The first layer is all silicone, which we don't do it. But when we do the shell piece, yeah, that's in 2 sections. So we can get his head out. So now at this point, I've got a pretty good coat on this. Looks like all my little deep parts are full. I made kind of a big batch here. So I'm just going to kind of add it a little bit at a time. I'm going to let it kick up some. That's our print coat. At least our first print coat. I want to let it gel up a little bit before I start putting any more on. I like to do 2 print coats and a nice thick coat and a finish coat. So you can see that this is like really wet and shiny. Plaster goes through stages. So I'm going to want to wait until this starts getting a little more matte, till I more of a matte finish, when I can start adding additional layers of plaster. It's all about time. It's like I gotta know, just like if I start softening this on right now, I'll disturb everything I've got on there. So I have to wait until this is picked up to the right firmness, then I can add additional plaster on it without disturbing what's on there. So it's like, I've gotta like look at it for a little bit. And again, what I'm looking for is if it's going from shiny to a matte finish, which it's starting to do. And as you can see, a lot of this is like, I'm just kind of putting it on, right? And then letting it go where it wants to go. So since this one I'm doing pretty vertically, most of my clay or my plaster application is kind of like up here at the top. And then you kind of want to let it roll down on its own. And I'm also making like a little base around the bottom here. All right, this is going to be like an inch or something, maybe 1.5 inches that goes around the bottom of this. Going to be patient now, because I know that's the right thing to do. That's got like our whole splash coat. So that's going to be thick enough now that I've got all my detail and everything good. I'm going to let that cure out for maybe half an hour or so, and then I'm going to start making a couple of thick batches so we can build up the thickness on it, and then the back will be finished. This is also, along with calling it the print coat, because we want to get we want to get a good print of what the sculpture looks like. This is also called a splash coat, which is obviously, you can see, I'm just kind of throwing stone at it. We will mold release this inside of this wall so that this front half and the back half don't stick. We'll Vaseline the crap out of that so that those separate. All right, so we've removed our playing card wall. We've pulled the clay balls out that are our keys. Now we have our receivers for where the positives are going to go. Now we've got the entire back half of this mitt. We're going to Vaseline everything up and move it up really good, and then lay it down and start doing the front half to them. These are pry points. These are going to provide a spot for us to insert screwdrivers or other prying instruments, in order us to pop the two molds apart. There you go. Let's do that. Yeah, but you're getting there.
It's like
that.
real juice now.
Were there any other like sort of big moments from the Fifth Element that you really appreciate outside of the weapon?
I love beginning. Look at that.
That's what happens.
Oh, look at that face.
Yes.
This is kind of our clean out. I'll do a little rotational molding with it so I cover all the surfaces. And then probably pour it from the roll to a bucket so I can pour it back into my bottle. I can do it that way.
Holy cow. That's the whole jug.
We're going to powder the whole inside of it, or if we don't, it will stick to itself. So latex is tacky right now. So the next step is we've got a nice solid latex coat inside the mold. The seam's been sealed up real nice. We're going to fill it now with some great stuff in order to make it a rigid structure. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do it slowly, and I'm going to put a little bit at a time. And I'm going to try to get it in here. I want to make sure that I get some down in the nose.
Blocking.
Oh, there it is. Oh, come on, her face.
It's almost there. It's coming. We got it.
Ah, and he's out.
Holy smokes. Ah, that was a lot.